Just 1 year after its debut, the GR Supra now has more power and a revised chassis. It also starts at $7,000 cheaper than it did last year. Now we're going to take a full look at the exterior details, everything on the inside, and take it for a test drive. Can't wait to show it to you. Let's get started. Now I want to start things off under the hood because this is where a big update comes for this 2021 model year. One of the big things is that they now offer a 4-cylinder option. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It has a twin-scroll turbo, and that's pretty decent numbers. Not to mention that 4-cylinder starts at $8,000 less than the current inline 6 that we have right here. Under the hood here, we have the inline 6. It's a direct injected inline 6 with a twin scroll turbo that gets more power. You now get 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque, and that comes out at 1,800 RPMs. Toyota says they gave us a new piston design and new exhaust manifold with 6 ports instead of 2. With the bump in power and torque, Toyota says 0 to 60 last year was 4.1 seconds, and now with this, 3.9 seconds. That's faster than the Lexus LC500, the RCF, the GSF. As most of you probably know by now, there's no manual option with the Supra. It's just your standard 8-speed automatic transmission on every trim. Miles per gallon isn't too bad, rated at 22 city, 30 highway, not bad for these kind of numbers. And my MPG test on the highway got 32 miles per gallon. And new for this 2021 model year on the inline 6, they have the lightweight aluminum braces from the strut tower to the radiator. At its heaviest, the inline 6 only weighs 3,400 pounds, and that 4-cylinder is even about 200 pounds lighter. So they're pretty light, tossable cars, and that 4-cylinder can even go 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat. That's not bad at all. Now trim levels for the Supra are going to start with the 2.0 model, the cheapest one, the new one for 2021, the 3.0, the 3.0 Premium, and the A91 Special Edition. And I'm going to show you some of the features that you get on different trim levels, but we have the 3.0 Premium right here. And one distinct feature on the Supra is that you get the LED daytime running light that runs under the headlight right there. It's a 6-lens auto-leveling LED headlight set. 6 lens being 3 low beams, 3 high beams, and they look really slick. They're very distinctive. Even that daytime running light acts as a blinker. This whole front end with the splitter, very aggressive front nose, kind of a few big wide openings down below, look really nice. This car sits so low and it's got such a long, big hood, so it really has a nice presence to it. And if we go ahead and take a look at the wheels, you're gonna get 18-inch wheels on the 4-cylinder models, but we have 19-inch forged aluminum wheels here. They're 10-spoke wheels. They come with the Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires, 255 in the front, 275 in the back. The brakes are 4-piston Brembos up front with the red brake calipers that even say Toyota Supra. Now, one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is there's a lot of fake vents. So right there, that one's fake, completely closed off. Right up here, this one is fake coming out of there. And then there's one also on the door that's also fake going back there. It looks nice, it looks cool, but it is fake. Now, believe it or not, the mirrors are going to change quite a bit depending on the trim level. They're going to be either glossy or matte black, or this carbon fiber, which is optional on this premium model, but that's standard on the A91. The passenger side can automatically tilt down, the driver's side is going to automatically dim, and they'll power fold when you lock the vehicle on the 6 cylinders. This paint color is called Matte Storm Gray. It's a $1,500 option. It looks really cool. It is matte, it's not super shiny, but it looks really awesome in different lighting and different angles, but there are several different colors if you want some different options. And dimensionally, the Supra is 172.5 inches long with only 4.5 inches of ground clearance. So it is small, it's got a low, wide ride, plus it has an adaptive variable suspension and active differential in the back, an overall revised chassis for better handling over the 2020 model. Now coming out the back, look at this huge haunch over that rear wheel. Now, what do y'all think of the design? I'd love to hear your comments below. I like the look of the Supra just because it's so distinctive, but we got LED taillights in the back, got that LED blinker part of that. I like the Supra emblem there, the GR, Gazoo Racing, aka Garage Racing from Toyota, an LED backup light, and check out this diffuser and the double exhaust outlet. That is brushed stainless steel. Now, one really small complaint is that there's no actual button or touch sensitive area to open the trunk. You have to use your key fob or open it from inside, but really small complaint, not a huge deal with this vehicle. And you can't expect much in terms of trunk size, but you get about 10.2 cubic feet, which really isn't terrible for a vehicle this small. Got a little bit of space on each side. You can fit some groceries back here, and it's long enough because of your sound system back there to where you can actually put some longer items in there if you needed to. And of course, there's no spare tire, but you get a tire inflator kit. Now, the Supra gives you the smart key system standard on all trim levels and all engines. It's a different key fob than what Toyota usually has a red stripe on it. Looks nice, feels nice, and is slim. And the way that it works is it's got a touch sensor, or just a sensor in the back to open it. Otherwise, there's a few little lines right there to lock it. Then you've got the power folding mirrors. I just want to say this quick. If you have any back, hip, or knee issues, you're going to have a hard time getting in and out of this car. But once you're in here, you're going to love it. You've got some really nice bucket seats. They look great. They feel great. They've got good bolstering on them. They're 14-way power adjustable, including lumbar support and bolster adjustment to where you can squeeze it in a little tighter if you want to. These 14-way power seats are on all of the 6-cylinder models. The seat trim and material will change a little bit between Alcantara and different colors, but we have the black leather on this premium model. And on the premium and A91, they're also heated. To top it off, they also have memory settings, and I'm 5'9". I have the seat as low as it can go. So to give you some perspective, I can put almost a fist above my head. So if you are tall, you definitely want to get in here and try it out for yourself. Steering wheel is leather wrapped, got some big paddle shifters on there. It is manual tilt and telescoping, and there's a pretty good range of motion. Now let's take a look at the interior details. There's some carbon fiber trim in here that I'll show you. We have knee cushions up here, so it is a wide console, but at least you have this spot for your knee, and the door, same kind of thing. It is padded right there for your knee. And then down there, we also get sport pedals on the premium and A91 special edition. And I want to talk about one optional driver assist package that we have. It's a $1,200 package. It does give us radar cruise control, full speed radar cruise control, which you can control on the steering wheel, blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert, so blind spot indicators in the mirror. And then we also have parking sensors that you can turn off or on with this button down here. And it actually works really well. So taking a look at the door, that entire door panel is a nicer material. You've got a nice metal door handle, soft armrest, and a nicer soft material up above. Coming inside, you can even have the parking lamps on one side of the vehicle or the other. Light controls right there. And then look at this. You even have some stitching running across the dash. Not something that I expected. Kind of a nicer material on the dash all the way across. Nicer material right here. So it's not cheap in here. I was kind of expecting that from the Supra, but at this price point, that's what you should get. The steering wheel is very comfortable to hold on to. Leather wrapped steering wheel, stitching on the inside, some grips. You have paddle shifters back here, and you even have rain sensing windshield wipers on that stock. Let's go ahead and start it up. Push button start. It's got a nice sound to it. Got the gauges right in front of you. Technically one big gauge digital speedometer and then information gauge over here, and you actually use your left blinker stock to change the little information on the bottom there. Otherwise, that blank space is where you'll see some like engine temperature, things like that in a special menu. That center display is actually standard on every trim level. And then right up above, you've got the color head-up display. The head-up display is just on this premium model. And then right over here, we've got this 8.8-inch display. This is standard on every trim now as well. 2020 model's base model had a 6.5-inch display. But even on the 4-cylinder, you'll get this same display. It is a touchscreen. It is definitely not typical Toyota and Tune system. It works pretty well. You don't have to use the touchscreen. You actually have a few physical buttons down there and some shortcuts. And then right down here is where you get your command knob. So you can use this to control the entire screen, and you have shortcuts on there. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but you'll be able to memorize patterns and use it without even looking. Now, one thing to note is that the base model gets a 4-speaker system and Sirius XM standard, but we get the JBL sound system. It's a 500-watt JBL system. That does sound pretty good. Behind our seats, we actually get a subwoofer, so check it out. One behind me, one behind that, so sound system in here is not too bad. But one of the big features is that you have wireless Apple CarPlay. So there's a wireless charging mat down here. You get wireless CarPlay, but there's no Android Auto at all. I'm not sure if you can tell, but this screen is actually dim and kind of hard to see. I've adjusted brightness at nighttime too, and in the daytime it's just dim. But backup camera works well, and the parking sensors actually work really well. It's not just a broad alert. It actually lets you know specific things that might be close to the car. Dual zone climate control is standard, and then with the heated seats that we have on our model, we've got those buttons on the side. So kind of surprised to see dual zone standard in here, but that is nice to see. The shifter is unique. It stays in one spot, but it can move around for drive, and then you can go over and for manual mode and then park. Now, charging ports, you've got that wireless charger there. That is a good spot to kind of stash your phone. It holds on to it. USB, fast charger USB on the upper trims, and then a 12-volt power outlet. Electronic parking brake, auto stop start, sport mode. When you put it in sport mode, auto stop start automatically turns off. Parking sensors, traction control, and then your safety system, like your lane keeping system, stuff like that. And on the passenger side, you get a little storage net. What do y'all think of the carbon fiber trim down here? So this is a lot better than like a piano black, of course. Looks kind of cool in here. Definitely distinctive. So there's no actual lift up center console here. You have kind of a hard material right here. It's just like it is up on the dash, but it's a decent place to rest your arm. I mean, you have a little bit of space, and then your cup holders, your passenger just basically doesn't have any space. And since you don't have an opening area, you just got a little cubby right there, just enough for a wallet. There is an automatic dimming rearview mirror up there, but one thing to note is that the visibility out of here is crazy small. This front windshield is really small, as you can see. These side windows are really small, but that's part of the styling. I mean, that's what you get. You've got a huge pillar back there, but I mean, it's not terrible. Your mirrors work just fine as well, and you got blind spot indicators. All right, y'all, let's get going in this Supra. So right off the bat, I am recording with binaural audio. So for the best sound experience, go ahead and put your headphones in. Now in this test drive, I'm gonna try to have a little bit of fun with it. We are gonna talk about what it's like to daily drive the Supra, ride, handling. I have not driven the 2020 Supra with less power, but I'll give you my thoughts on this one in particular. And my first impression when I first got in here, I was like, man, this feels like a stiff go-kart. And it is. I mean, it's low, it's rigid, it feels stiff for sure, but you get used to it. The ride's really not too bad. And we actually have an adaptive variable suspension, so it can adjust accordingly. And right off the bat, we're in normal mode. Got a nice throttle response, got a really nice weighty feel to the steering too. It's got a nice sound to it. What did y'all think of that exhaust? I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Sport mode, traction control off. I did launch control, but we definitely still lost traction. I don't know if I did it right. It gave me the flag down there, but anyways, that was still pretty fun. Listen to those pops. So we're still in sport mode, holds the RPMs really well. On its own. You definitely feel that turbo. You feel every bit of this power. There's a nice amount of torque. I'm honestly surprised it's got more horsepower than torque, but it's a really good balance of the two. So for example, you get on it and it aggressively downshifts for you. Can hear all the pops from that exhaust. Sounds really nice. Obviously, sounds like a 6-cylinder, not a V8, not supposed to be. This is a Japanese sports car. It's not the Lexus F models, the V8s that you're used to. This is a whole different animal, and it is very quick, very punchy. Now I just have it back in normal mode, and when you are in normal mode, you still have some weight to the steering wheel. It's not a ton. It's not like race car stiff, but it's got a connected feel, I guess I could say. It's not a heavy, weighty steering, but it still feels like a sporty car. You feel low, you still feel stiff, and throttle response, whoa, it's still good. That was not floored. With these turbos, you really don't have to give it a whole lot of throttle, and it just punches you in the back. The 3.9 seconds 0 to 60 to me is really impressive for this car. I was happy to hear that. And I'm not comparing to BMW. I know BMW with this Supra, but I just don't care. I don't want to talk about BMW in a Supra review. Now, just sitting here in the Supra, I would say day-to-day driving, it's a little tight for me. I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'9", but you got these braces for your knee, or this padding for your knee, which is nice, and it's just kind of a tight, you know, sports car feel, which is what most people are going to want in here anyways. But practicality is not that great with the little storage cubbies in here, but that's not what we're talking about here. Got it back in sport mode now. This transmission does quite well. It's obviously not a manual transmission like a lot of you want, but it's done well with its shifts. It's been smooth. And to my surprise, it holds the RPMs longer than I would have expected with this turbo, even under partial throttle. And I like that. I like that you can still get the horsepower out of here. The brakes feel good. One thing about the brakes is that we got 4-piston Brembos up front, and it's not a touchy brake, which is nice. You know, I was kind of, you know, hoping it wasn't going to be an over boosted brake, but it feels good. It's responsive. When you get your foot down into it, you definitely get some feedback out of it. Now I want to talk a little bit more about ride comfort. It is stiff. I probably would not want this as a daily driver. Obviously, I have a family, as many of you have seen, so it wouldn't work for me anyways, but it's a fun car. Could definitely be fun for singles, for couples, if you don't really have families, or if you don't really care about a stiff ride. But that's what you get in here, and that's what gives us such great handling. On any corner, this feels so flat and so planted. And even just going 45 in sport mode, just to give you an idea of the quick torque, partial throttle, and it gets you going real quick. I hope y'all can hear the sounds of this. What do you think of the sound? When we're just cruising along, it's not bad. In fact, with my decibel ratings, I, at the time of this video, have not done my interstate one, so I'll put that down below. But on the highway, on a rougher surface, there was a good amount of road noise in here, which you'd expect. You kind of want to be able to have that close to the ground feel with this car, but it wasn't horrible, so it really wasn't that bad. And overall, it's more premium in here with the nicer materials on the dash, the nicer materials around here, the carbon fiber trim. Definitely nicer than I was expecting. Pedal down. I love how aggressive the sport mode can be, even without using the paddles. Now we're going to go ahead and put it in manual mode. You just move your shifter over. We'll see how these paddles do. I haven't spent a lot of time with the paddles, but in my short time so far, they have been brisk and responsive. So let's see how we do. I would say those are quick. That's definitely quick. Especially for what I think people's expectations were for this price range and for the Supra. Obviously, Toyota had to please a lot of old Supra buyers. And I don't know if those same buyers are looking at this Supra, but I'd love to know what y'all think down below. Go ahead, downshift. No matter where you shift in that RPM band, you've got a lot of torque behind you. You can feel the power and it shifts quick. I'm gonna put it back in drive, take it out of sport mode. And what do y'all think of the Supra so far? I hope you can enjoy the sound of the Supra. Plug in your headphones if you haven't, because you'll be able to hear a little more left and right noise and hopefully some of the more ambient sounds in here. But let's go ahead and close things out, wrap things up on the Supra. So what do y'all think of this 2021 Toyota GR Supra? I like that Toyota is now offering a 4-cylinder that's a little quicker than I was expecting, and it's a good middle ground between the Toyota 86 and the 3.0 inline 6 of this Supra. I love that Toyota gave us a power upgrade for 2021, even though it probably should have been like that on the very first year, but they also revised the chassis, and it's just good to see updates to this brand new GR Supra. It's a little more premium than I was expecting it to be, and obviously this is the premium model, but it's a blast to drive. It's got distinct Japanese styling, whether you like it or not, and it's just fun. Let me know what your comments are of the Supra down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe for more reviews, and have a great day.